If you don't like your customers, change your marketing. It's that simple. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but here's what I mean. If you are a florist that's getting $60, $80 orders and you really want to be waking up to $150 and $200 orders, it has nothing to do with how many Instagram followers you have, how many credentials you have, how many years you've been in business, how saturated your area is. And in actual fact, it has nothing to do with your design skills. And it has everything to do with how you market your business. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down for you the marketing strategy that changed everything for me and for so many of my clients over the past decade. It's called the marketing mirror. And it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if you're watching this, I'm guessing that you're a floral designer who's getting orders consistently. Your business is making money, but not enough money. You're getting $60, $80 orders, but what you really want is to wake up to an inbox with more $150, $200, even $300 orders. You're getting wedding inquiries, but they might not be to the budgets that you want to work with. You've invested in your website. You've done the style shoots. You've done the brand shoots. You've revamped your shop. Maybe you've even moved shops. You've investigated SEO, done the courses, done the workshops. You are a gold star A+ student. You follow the advice. You find out whatever information that you can. You do the work. And yet, something still feels off. And if you're like most of my clients, you think the problem is your design skills. You're convinced that if you took one more course, went to that famous florist workshop, perfected your technique, learned as much as you could about how to grow your own flowers, how to design in all sorts of styles and aesthetics, if you could become the master of using every ingredient under the sun, then the right clients would finally show up. But here's what our industry doesn't want you to know. Your design skills are not the problem. In fact, focusing solely on your design skills is exactly why you're not making enough money. I know this because I lived that experience for years. I remember scrolling on Instagram, looking at what all the famous florists are doing, looking at what my favorite florists are doing and thinking, I wish I had her business. I wish I had customers showing up with that kind of budgets because I knew I was capable of creating that kind of work and that caliber of work, but I couldn't figure out what the heck it was that I was missing. And finally, in one of my many enough is enough moments, after picking myself up off the ground, getting out of the comparison spiral on Instagram, I thought, okay, there must be a better way. There must be, quite literally, thousands of florists who have figured this out. And if she's done it, I can figure it out too. So one of the very first things that I did is I took a very objective, academic look at my marketing. And I vividly remember looking at my Instagram feed, and it was filled with buttonholes, bridal bouquets, and yes, the caliber of work was good. Of course, it oozed pretty flowers. But what I really wanted to be doing was big ceremony features, ceiling installations, like those big budget wedding designs, the stuff that you see the famous florists posting all of the time. And that's when it dawned on me. I was looking at my Instagram feed and it was filled with buttonholes and bouquets. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Well, immediately I can see where the disconnect is. No wonder I wasn't being asked to create the big budget designs that I wanted to create. And I so wish that somebody had smacked me upside the head and said, Kathleen, it's not a design problem. It's a marketing problem. And after having taught this concept to hundreds of florists around the world, here's what I want you to know. And it's called the marketing mirror. And quite simply put, the way that you market your business directly reflects the customers that come to your business, which is the best news on the planet. Because if you don't like the current customers that are coming to your business, change your marketing. It's that simple. And it's not some convoluted strategy. It's not rocket science. We're not talking you need to learn how to supercode like some AI robot. We're talking Marie Forleo, everything is figure outable. That's the vibe. Because when you understand this concept, when you really get it, when you live and breathe it, everything changes in your business. Because suddenly you're not waiting to be chosen. You're not hoping that the right clients will just magically find you. You're attracting them to your business through very intentional marketing. And it relieves so much of the pressure because the game no longer is become a better designer. The game gets to be show the right work to the right people at the right time, and winning feels easy. So here's exactly the process that I went through to get myself in the driver's seat of my business, to stand out from the crowd, to get ahead of the competition, to start attracting those high value clients that I wanted to attract, and ultimately make more money. Number one, audit your to-do list. Now, let us pretend that we are having a cup of coffee, just you and me, and we're sitting down and you have pulled out your cute little notebook or your day planner, and it's very aesthetic and it's very lovely and it's color coded. And I'm like, okay, show me your to-do list. So you pull it out and we start to evaluate it. And on your to-do list is going to be a bunch of actions. But when's the last time you actually looked at your to-do list and you thought, I know exactly why I'm doing every single one of these things? It is so normal for us as business owners to simply get wrapped up in the doing, checking things off of our to-do list, trying to get as much done in between orders and in between wedding inquiries, going to bed, waking up the next day, doing exactly the same thing. And we just get in this routine of doing, checking things off the list, doing it again. And hopefully one day things fall into place. And this is particularly true when it comes to things like social media. If you don't know the game to play, if you don't know the goal, if you don't know the point, you're going to get sucked into the whole content creation hamster wheel and posting into the void, hoping one day to get picked. And eventually, after enough times of second guessing yourself and mustering up the courage to post again and then getting stuck in the comparison cycle one more time, you're going to start to wonder if it's just you. And that little voice in your head is going to say, you're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. Maybe you're not meant to do this work. Or maybe it's just that you're not a good enough designer. But remember, winning the game isn't about being the best designer. It's about being a smarter marketer. So if you look at your to-do list and it's not clear why you're doing what you're doing, if you feel like you're just going through the motions, but it doesn't feel like you're clear on the strategy, if you don't know where it's leading you, if you don't know why the thing is even on your to-do list, or you're doing things because of the invisible shoulds, i.e., I should be posting to Instagram, I should be on TikTok, I should be sorting out Pinterest, I should be mastering SEO. Pay attention to all of the things that you think that you should be doing. Your to-do list gets to be incredibly simple and incredibly intentional once you understand the game to play. But it requires you to pause long enough, audit your to-do list, and ask myself, am I clear on why I'm doing these things? And if I'm not, pause long enough to get clear on why you're doing these things. I'm going to guess if I was to look at your to-do list, 50% of it could just be deleted. Yes, 50% of it. That's how simple your marketing plan gets to be as a florist. The second thing for you to look at is really thinking about how many different types of customers are you catering your business to. No doubt, if you've been in business for a while, then you probably have full service weddings, wedding packages, online orders, funerals, events. If you have a retail shop, then you're also going to add in walk-in customers and phone customers. And here's what most florists don't realize. Every one of those services requires a different marketing and sales plan. A bride needs to go through a different purchase decision-making process than somebody who's ordering flowers for a funeral. Somebody who wants to send flowers for a birthday or a new baby or an anniversary needs to go through a different sales process than the person who's planning an elopement. Now, you and I know behind the scenes, there is a huge amount of crossover operationally. But at the front end, from the time of getting found, nurturing that client into the sale, getting paid, every single one of those client groups requires a different sales process. And this is what makes running a florist business so complicated. First of all, if you don't know that, you're going to be banging your head against the wall, wondering what you're missing. You're going to make it mean something about you. And no doubt our industry has taught all of us that the only way to win is that you need to be popular. You need to have the coolest retail shop, and you must be the world's greatest floral designer who's ever walked the face of the planet. And the way I like to look at this is with every service that you offer. So if you do full service weddings and wedding packages, if you have a retail shop and you answer the phone, you have walk-in customers, and you have an online shop, every service that you provide requires you to work twice as hard. You're not just adding 20% onto your to-do list, you are literally doubling your to-do list with every service that you offer. Now, that's not to say that it's not possible, but I want you to breathe a giant sigh of relief because it is not a you thing. It is simply how we have to run our businesses. So if you are a florist on a mission to make more money, the most valuable thing you can do is look at all of the services that you offer right now in your business and pick your number one revenue driver. Now, I'll also tell you there's no wrong answer here. So just pick the one that your heart is drawn to first, sort out your marketing plan, get your sales systems sorted so that it becomes absolutely rinse and repeat. And every single day, you know exactly what you need to do to get your business in front of the right people, to sell with confidence and get those high profit orders. And it requires little to no brain effort, little to no creativity on your part to make that happen. Once you get to that point, then you can start adding on the next one. But we get to take it one step at a time. And anytime you feel like you're overwhelmed or you're frustrated, it's because you've lost focus. And the strategy to build into your sales plan here is remembering that we get to adopt that new day, new customer mindset. So if you are fighting upstream, if it feels like you're wasting a lot of time on admin, if you're doing a lot of custom quoting, you're spending a lot of time on the back and forth, and it's not turning into increased revenue, you're probably fighting against the new day, new customer mindset. But once you realize that every 24 hours, there's a whole new group of customers that are just about to come your way, your marketing and sales plan gets to be so rinse and repeat. It also means that every day you can make 1% improvements, and 10 days later, you're going to be 10% better than you were 10 days earlier. This is such a helpful mindset to adopt when it comes to your marketing and sales because it's going to see how simple and easy it gets to be. And the third audit you can do in your business is look at where your marketing expenses are going. Like quite literally, open your P&L, open your expenses, open and look at all of those journal entries and pay attention to where you are actively investing your money. Is that investment giving you a positive ROI? The goal should be, if you put $20 into marketing, you should be making $80 back, or $100 or $120, depending on how you're marketing your business. But no matter what, even if you forget the ratios and you forget the math, if you put $1 into your business, you should be at least be getting $2 back. So that means for every penny that you invest in paid ads, you should be getting more money back. For every dollar that you're investing in your website, you should be getting more money back. If the money's going out, but there's no money coming back in, it's time to question whether that's worth doing at all. Now, the very first time I remember doing this, and this is going to show my age. However, it's a very helpful exercise because I know it's really easy to get overwhelmed with all the technology and on the online platforms and all of the digital things. But back in the good old days of the phone book, when the dinosaurs roamed the planet, we were paying a substantial amount of money to have a half-page ad run in the yellow pages. Then after a few years of just paying that invoice because it kept coming in, I remember thinking, okay, is this something that we actually need to be doing? If we're paying money to be featured in the phone book, is it bringing in more revenue to our business? And this is when we sat down and really started to interrogate where are our best customers coming from. Now, this was almost a decade ago, but even then, our best customers were ordering through our website, not picking up the phone because they happened to find us in the yellow pages. Quite literally from that exercise, that was the day that we decided to stop paying for an ad in the yellow pages, saving our business thousands of dollars. Now, I know it's a very archaic example, but the same principle applies no matter where you're advertising your business. So look at your current marketing plan. Look at where the money is going out. Where are you paying for advertising, and is it giving you a positive return on your investment? Because if you're paying for advertising that's not getting you more revenue, if there isn't a positive ROI, it's time to cross it off your to-do list. And taking the time to audit these 3 things in your business is so powerful, but especially if your goal is business growth, profitability, waking up to more $150, $200 online orders, looking at your to-do list, evaluating where your time and energy is going from a marketing and a sales perspective, and evaluating your advertising expenses is going to put you back in the driver's seat of your business. Here's what happens if you don't make the change. A year from now, you'll still be waking up to $60, $80 orders, still wondering why the dream clients aren't finding you. You'll still be exhausted from trying to do all of the things, being stuck on the hamster wheel, checking all of the boxes, and wondering why the numbers aren't adding up. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you might get to the point that so many florists get to where you're completely burned out, you're broke, and you decide, you know what, this mustn't be for me. And you might give up on the work that you know in your bones you're meant to be doing. I am on a mission to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. If the math isn't adding up, if you have an endless to-do list, if you feel like you are doing all of the things, it has nothing to do with your design skills. It's just that nobody has taught you the right game to play. So take these 3 audits, apply them to your business, make the changes as quickly as possible. And when it comes to growing your business, remember, it's always just a marketing game. And if you're on a mission to get your website doing more of the work for you, be sure to jump into this video. I reviewed 22 florist websites, deconstructed them, broke it down into the common mistakes that I see florists making around the world. Quite literally, these are the things that prevent the good florists, the beautiful designers, the amazing humans, the passionate creatives from being able to make a living doing the work that they love. Your website is the heart of your florist business. It's the thing that's going to save you so much time, increase your capacity, make you more money, give you control over the designs that you're creating, get you noticed by the good customers, and help you sell with confidence. And when you set it up right, it literally saves you hundreds of hours on admin and all of that back and forth. So if you want to see what's working and what's not, jump in and watch this video next. And as always, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.